Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys had a great trading week. Hope everything was great for you guys. It was a pretty balanced week overall. Nothing too exciting. I don't think there was much large moves, but yeah, we'll get straight into it right now. I think obviously, just straight getting into it, heading into the daily, pretty much nothing notable. Obviously, we attempted to break above these overnight all-time highs and ultimately failed to do so. But, again, all-time high failed breakouts are pretty common. As you can see, last time we had this one in the previous high right here, we attempted to break up. We even supported it, if anything, and then failed to continue lower, right? So, again, a lot of things to look for and a lot of things to monitor, but it was a pretty flat week overall. I think we ended pretty flat on the session. I don't think nothing too notable. But yeah, you could obviously see that on Monday, pretty balanced week overall until the last couple of minutes. I'm not really sure why we had that large sell-off. Could have been some news, but again, not sure. Uh, Tuesday, we had a decent rally, pretty nice there. Wednesday, again, another rally with some possible dips that could have been bought. Again, Thursday was that attempt to the all-time highs. You can really see these Thursdays, that attempt to the all-time highs. And yeah, and then on Friday we completely shut that down. I believe it was actually Nvidia earnings this week, and that was, I believe, on Friday. And so Friday actually had a little bit of the downside just because Nvidia earnings were so heavy. And the Nvidia earnings is something to really pay attention to when it comes to overall market, just because it has so much weight in the overall market. I think it's obviously the largest company in the world, and it just has so much weight. I believe even on the the SPY index, that it's just going to be really important. And a lot of people pay close attention to these heavy companies just because of how heavily weighted they are. So Nvidia did have a bit of weakness on Friday, which did obviously cause the market to overall be down. But again, and then obviously today, no notable activity. And I believe, and I say this, if any YouTuber traded today, stop watching them. It's Memorial Day, nothing notable. It's a half day, but it's not a day. Just because if you really look at it from a 1 minute perspective, like you're gonna be trading no candles. You're basically trading nothing. So again, it's pretty nonsense. And again, if you're watching a trader that's trading that, please get away. But yeah, that's basically on the week. Pretty flat. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, on the weekly profiles, just to show you guys on the weekly profiles, we obviously have a pretty balanced week, and you can see that those Thursdays, that ability to attempt to move higher, and then Friday shut it back down, coming back within the range. If you guys remember from last week's video, one thing we were looking at is this upper distribution, this lower distribution, along with this low volume node that could be seen in this weekly profile and this composite profile to the right side. Obviously, acceptance within the upper distribution is going to allow for the market to continue higher, just because if you really look at it, we did build value and volume up here, so that is acceptance. Volume slash value is acceptance. So if we are able to establish ourselves within that upper distribution, we will see that acceptance and that possibility to move higher. And so one thing you could really see, and the levels worked out perfectly, is that 61 level that was actually holding for that start of the low volume node. You could really see we dipped below it, but never accepted really below it, right? We never really built volume below it. You could even see it right here on the profile. Nothing really was ever accepted below it. So obviously seeing that low volume node was very important, because for me to be really bearish on the session, I really had to see us below these 64.35s, and we never saw that, right? We never even got close to them. We did go halfway, and yeah, it was just nothing really important. So obviously, seeing that, I was pretty bullish for the week. So obviously this led to that all-time high push higher. So obviously heading into Tuesday and Wednesday and even Thursday, I was looking for longs, which ultimately I will show you guys the trades that I took. Nothing too notable from my end. It was a pretty small L week. I did take L's on every single trade, but it's not. They were very, very small L's, just because due to the volatility and volume, I really did size down. Not just size down, but also kept my stops a lot shorter. But other than that, yeah. That was a very important level, and I hope you guys paid attention to those levels because it ended up giving kind of the direction of the rest of the week and the kind of the sentiment. So again, we accepted that within that upper distribution, and we even throughout the session, obviously you could really see, we even accepted within this upper distribution, which is still really important, which is still to me giving me bullish sentiment that we are attempting to go higher. And so one thing you could see is that I guess in the fixed TPO, and I will look at it in a bit just because it shows you guys the weekly levels. But you can kind of see we did attempt to build volume up here and even in these highs, but we never really left a tail. So to me, that really shows. And once I show you guys the levels, we'll go into daily TPOs. But to me, that really shows that are we are we really into these all-time highs yet, right? Have we? For me to really say, okay, these are all-time highs, I really need to see kind of like an excess, a tail, really show that sellers are present up there. And based on Thursday's profile, you don't really see that. So it's gonna be really important to see. But yeah, showing you guys straight into. Oh, and before I continue, I'll show you guys straight the trades I took for the week, and that's gonna be. I'll show you guys. What's this? Oh, this is 14. Oops. Apologize about that, guys. Okay, so Monday, obviously, Monday I actually took the market short just because it was pretty balanced overall. So I did expect, I was seeing some signs of selling up here or down here, and this is when we were pulling back. And eventually, I was really going for a short target, and you could really see that the trade almost did work in my favor. I was just going for a target off the midpoint just because we were in a balanced range. And one thing that I really emphasize when it comes to my group and my friends who also trade, whenever we're in balanced conditions, you really have to adjust your target. A lot of people are thinking, okay, let me hold these long targets, but that's not going to work. Just because the range is so tight, there's no reason we're going to make it all the way to that long target. That's only usually for trending days, days with volume, days with volatility that will make it to that long-term target. But for balanced conditions, I'm always going for the extremes. So and the middle, the middle of the range. So one thing I was going for was that midpoint, which is around the 68, 69s, and then the other case, best case scenario, if we get that bottom extreme, right? And so we were actually really close to getting that, but unfortunately I got stopped out for a really small. I think it was only a three point stop loss. So overall, still not bad. Yeah, it was actually a 2.5 stop loss. Yeah, 2.5 stop loss. So again, really nice tight risk, and I really prefer that just because it kind of gets the biggest thing when it comes to trading, and one thing that I would emphasize is the execution. Because once you execute, if you are able to execute well, then you're going to be able to do everything else well. You're going to be able to put your stop loss well. You're able to put your take profit well. You're not only going to also be able to profit more, but mentally you're just going to be more stable. And so that's going to be something really important. That's going to be really something important, something I emphasize a lot. But yeah, obviously I got stopped out, got top wicked, and you're going to kind of see a little theme throughout the week. But I got top wicked, or not top wicked, but I did get stopped out, and this eventually did work in my favor. We did get that push into the middle of the area where my stop loss was, and then overall was just really perfect. I think it was a simple trade, but again, trading is a statistics game. It's not always going to work. It's not always going to be in your favor. Tuesday, pretty balanced day. Didn't really take anything. Wednesday, another day where again, based on Monday and Tuesday, my sentiment was long just because off the weekly key levels. So I actually did see some notable buying down here. So, and it also aligned with one of my levels on my daily levels. And so this trade actually ended up working beautifully. But unfortunately, actually got stopped out after, this was up around 7 points, but I was going for a bigger target, and so unfortunately, I got stopped out for break even, kind of break even, 1 point stop loss here, but I was overall in this trade right here. You can really see I got long here, and I was targeting for something pretty much higher. I think I was targeting for these 88, something like that. And then unfortunately got stopped out. But the most unfortunate part was that I actually did get bottom ticked right here, and this eventually did end up rallying. Not really frustrating because just again, trading is a statistics game. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. You shouldn't kind of be upset. But for me, when I see this type of stuff, and I'm like, okay, I did get bottom wicked. I did see this. Um, it kind of shows that your analysis was right. It really does show that your analysis was right. So that's I guess a big tip I would give you guys. Just don't really be upset if you see like you get top wick, bottom wick, whatever it is. If your analysis was right, I think that's a really big confidence booster. And so then Thursday, obviously, Thursday heading. I did take two trades. Again, similar kind of theme. I did get long right here. Small stop down here, 3 points. And it was actually pretty nice because it actually was the bottom, and then eventually got long here. Again, this second entry for me, this second trade was really the best, and so unfortunately did not get it, but it did end up working out, which to me is a confidence booster. But yeah, those are my trades for the week. Didn't take anything Friday, and so for the weekly levels that I will be giving you guys today is obviously nothing has been changed just because it was a pretty balanced week, but the levels were respected. 61s is going to be that start of that low volume node that I will be a lot of emphasis on watching. The bottom of that low volume node being those 64.35s is going to be the weekly bearish, which is us being able to accept within that lower distribution, and then that 65.03 is going to be those real-time hour all-time highs at those 65.03s, which I would love to see. And basically what I was telling you guys is you could really see that on that Thursday profile. We did have kind of like this balanced profile, but we were shifting value higher. But one thing you could really see is we have this poor high up there, and if you guys aren't sure about what a poor high is, kind of just really means that the top's not yet done, right? A poor high for me means that there has been transacting. There is a market ceiling up there, but we haven't found a rejection point. A rejection point means, for me, an excess. You can really see right here, this is a strong rejection point off those 65.03. That, to me, is a very strong rejection. That really shows acceptance lower. But these all-time highs, again, I don't think people should be worried about yet there being all-time highs. We are still in bullish sentiment. There is still a bullish regime in the market. And so, and this fixed TPO for me, again, this is all in my opinion, all my analysis, but this fixed TPO for me really shows that this is a poor high that has yet to show any excess, really has yet to show any buyers being or any sellers really being shown presence, that this is what all-time high is, this is what they really want to show. So will be watching for a possibility of either continuation up higher above these levels or at actual rejection point, which leaves excess or sellers are present there. But other than that, there's not much notable. Again, nothing has changed from last week. Same levels are going to stay there just because everything was respected very nicely there. 64, 61 being those weekly levels, those 35s being those weekly bearish, and the weekly bullish being that real-time hours all-time highs at 65.03s. Other than that, nothing other really notable. Continue to watch the VIX. VIX has been dropping extreme amount, and so be on the lookout for the VIX. I believe we're on the U25. This is always going to give you something really help. It is something that I implement a lot into my analysis. We continue to be low, so this is always going to show that the volatility as the VIX continues to drop. Do not expect to have long-term targets or long targets. VIX is always going to give you kind of that it is a volatility index, so it's going to give you kind of the volatility of the overall market. And if VIX is all the way at the bottom, it does not show that there is good volatility in the market. So I don't think you should be looking for those long targets. You should be accepting those small winners, quick, easy, done, right? And enjoy your day. Other than that, nothing else really to show except for news actually this week. News this week is there is some pretty important ones. PMI on Tuesday. On Thursday you got some ISM as well. Unemployment claims every week, 8:30. Could be on the lookout for that. And then Friday is pretty important because this is NFP, so non-farm payrolls, I believe this is. And so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, not much notable stuff next week. Next week you do got PPI, CPI, and then FOMC next week or 2 weeks after that. But other than that, nothing really much to note. There is some big news this week, so be on the lookout for any 10 a.m. if you are in a position 10 a.m. If you are not risk-free on that trade, you should be monitoring that. But other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Hope you guys have a really great training week, and yeah, I'll be back this week with more analysis videos, and as always, and peace, guys.